Okay, good evening, dear students, and welcome back to this next session on strategic management. We have, in fact, come a long way on the subject. In fact, right from what is strategy, objectives of strategy, meaning of strategy, and all that. And we have covered functional strategies, and we covered about corporate level strategies, business level strategies, and all that. So we are in the topic strategy implementation and control. We are in the topic strategy implementation and control. So in the last class, we discussed about aspects regarding implementation of strategies, and particularly we discussed about change. When there is going to be a change, how to implement it. Change in strategies, how to implement it. We discussed a lot of examples also. So hope all of you are very clear on that. Okay. So today we are going to another aspect, control. This topic has got two elements in it. One is implementation. Another is control. So the implementation part, whatever we discussed, I hope you all have no doubts in that. We discussed about, did we complete that last part, third proven, and then we discussed about role of management and implementation of strategies, all that we covered in the last class? Yeah. So I think now we have to move on to control. Control, we have been discussing time and again. What is the meaning of the term control? The term control itself signifies that you are going to measure your performance against a goal or a target or a standard or a budget or a plan. So I think we've discussed about budgetary control. We discussed about cost control. We discussed about in planning itself. Generally, when we talk of management principles, planning and control. If you have a plan, automatically there will be control. Okay. So how are you going to control the execution of strategies? How are you going to measure the performance of our strategies as against the plans? That's what we are going to cover in this part. Many of the entities, they would like to measure their performance against their plans, how it is going on, and consequently, this becomes an important area for focus by the management. Many times we have discussed that while implementation part, there are challenges in it, but they need to continuously monitor how the performance is going on. And if there is a need for a change in strategy or anything of that nature, they need to be prepared for it. So that is about the control aspect of it. So in this strategy control, we are going to discuss about a few more things. So make a note. What is the meaning of the term control? What is meaning of the term control? Let us first go through the meaning of the term. Control involves control involves control involves control involves A, monitoring the activity, monitoring the performance, and B, measuring results against pre-established standards. Measuring results against pre-established standards. Measuring results against pre-established standards. Pre-established standards. So any aspect of control would always mean it is comparing with the standards or your plan. Third is analyzing and correcting deviations. Analyzing and correcting deviations. So when you want to actually check whether your performance is in track, you would like to analyze and correct deviations if any. Okay, so in the course of implementing your strategies, if you observe any issues, if you're not able to achieve your strategies, then you need to modify your strategies. So the control aspect is what is going to enable us to check whether our strategies are giving the desired results. If not, you have to alter your strategies. And last point, maintaining/adapting the system. Maintaining/adapting, adapting to changes. So sometimes it may so happen that you may have to quickly adapt to the changes that happen around you. The strategies may have to be altered. The strategies may have to be corrected, or you may have to work around different strategies. So this is what we talk about as control. What is the purpose of control? Control serves the following purposes. Now, we use control in businesses, as I said, in the form of a budgetary control. We carry out a plan on an annualized basis. We try to compare our performance against the plan, and if there are any deviations, we take corrective steps. As we discussed probably in the topic on budgetary control, any budget is or can be altered or modified. So that is why we have a budget which is initially prepared and subsequently it is revised. It's called a revised budget. So revising a budget is something not uncommon. So that is the point here. When we talk of control, there's nothing uncommon to revise things, even if it's a strategy. Strategic control implies that you need to modify your strategy. Let us think of some example. So you are working on a strategy of distribution of your product through, as we probably discussed in some earlier occasions, through your own outlets, only, not by third-party outlets. And consequently, your sales have dropped up compared to earlier when you had your product sold across all channels, third-party, your own outlets and all that. So there has been a 20% drop in your sales. Now you have to revisit your strategies and check whether the strategy is appropriate. So in case you find that the strategy is not appropriate, then you may have to go in for modifying your strategy. Either you can go back to the original one where you had all channels of sales, or you add on to your own channels of sales, like your own outlets, add on something else, online sales. So let us assume that earlier you did not have an online sale. Now you want to bring in an online sale along with your outlet sale. Then probably it would make up with a 20% loss in sales, at least if not fully, to a large extent. So this is what you need to keep doing on a continuous basis. In fact, I have shared recently Mr. Sanjeev Mehta's presentation on strategies of Unilever. Did any one of you had a chance to go through that? Did any one of you had a chance to go through that? Unilever Chairman Sanjeev Mehta's speech and strategies. Beautiful action. If you're not read it, you need to read it. And I don't think anything else can teach you a better lesson than that in strategic management. Did you all go through that? I had shared it in any one of you. I had shared it in, I think, Telegram channel and right. Any one of you? Preeti? Preeti, am I audible?
Sir, your voice is very feeble, sir. I'm not able to hear you completely, sir. Very feeble.
Is it the case with everyone else? My voice is feeble? Can you all confirm? Before start of the class, I checked with all of you whether my voice is okay, I'm audible, visible. Everybody said fine. Then we started the session. Is there an issue now? You are not able to hear me?
No, sir, the voice is clear.
No, sir, in the starting it was fine, but now little like normal voice.
Is there anyone facing a problem? I'm not audible or something like that. Is there an issue? Aditya, is it okay?
It's fine, sir.
Sahana?
It's fine, sir.
Sandhya? Everything is fine. In case if there is any issue, you have a, I think, chat option also. You can put it in the chat. So is it okay now, Preeti? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm asking you a question. Whether you have gone through the Sanjeev Mehta's speech at the, I think it was in the AGM or around that time. Did you had a chance to go through?
No, sir.
No. In fact, I also forwarded about Nitin Paranjpe. Nitin Paranjpe, wherein Nitin Paranjpe. Nitin Paranjpe is spoken about. He's talking about India is facing probably the most difficult economic situation. HUL chairman, Mr. Nitin Paranjpe. Incidentally, when I was working in Hindustan Lever, he was the branch head of Chennai. So he was in Chennai branch. Now he is the Unilever head for people change, HR, Unilever, globally. Now he is also HUL chairman in India. For Indian HUL, he is a chairman. ஸோ அது நான் ஒன்று ஷேர் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் சஞ்சீவ் மேத்தா அது வந்து வேற ஷேர் வாட்ஸ்அப்லயா இதில் பண்ண ஞாபகம் இல்லை எனக்கு சஞ்சீவ் மேத்தா. ஸோ ஐ வில் ட்ரை அண்ட் ஷேர் திஸ் ஒன் ஆல்சோ யூ ஹேவ் டு கோ த்ரூ. தட் இஸ் நிதின் பராஞ்பே and
Nitin Paranjpe I went through, sir, but I couldn't find Sanjeev Mehta.
சஞ்சீவ் குப்தா நான் எதில் ஷேர் பண்ணேன்? Sure. Sanjeev Gupta, I shared it actually. WhatsApp la pannana illa edha panna. Okay, I'll share it with you today. We'll go through that. Okay. So Sanjeev Gupta has brought out very nicely about various strategies the company is trying to adopt with respect to their performance. So I will share it with you. I thought I have shared it. Twitter la pannirukena nyabagam enakku. Okay, don't worry. Could be either in Twitter or Telegram. I'll recheck that. I'll send it again to you. Sanjeev Mehta, not Sanjeev Gupta, Sanjeev Mehta. So please go through that. Because why I'm talking about that is going to enable you to know, understand about changes in strategies and all that. Sanjeev Mehta is a chairman, he's the CEO of Unilever. Interestingly, I don't know. Okay, don't worry, I'll send it across to you. All of you can go through that later. I thought I have sent it to you. I read it and I thought I have sent it to you. Okay, coming back to the point. So when we talk of control of strategies, so revisiting your strategies is what we are talking about control. So if there are issues, Mr. Sanjeev Mehta has said that over the last couple of years, the inflation has been in double digit with respect to commodities, which is causing a huge hardship. And there are few positives which he talked about, where he said the young population consumption is becoming higher by the day, and rural penetration. These are all the things which they are going to actively pursue for success of the product and continuity of success in the business. So Unilever is one of the best companies known for right strategies. One of the best companies in India particularly. Globally also Unilever is one of the topmost companies which get the strategies right and they modify the strategies. So the example what I gave you in respect of distribution channels or whatever it could be, where you are tracking your performance and if there is a need for a modification, you can go for it. So coming back to the point, what are all the aspects regarding purposes of control? Purposes of control. One, to lay down standards of performance for actually doing the activities. To lay down standards of performance for actually doing the activities. So it's a benchmarking standard to ensure, second point, to ensure achievement of predetermined goals and results. To ensure achievement of predetermined goals and results. Predetermined goals and results. Third, to measure progress at periodical intervals. That is something on a monthly or quarterly basis. You keep measuring your performance against your target and plan. It's a control mechanism. Now, to give you an example, let us say this week you're targeted to write 3 tests or 4 tests. So if you've written all the 4 tests, then you're doing well. If you're not written all the 4 but only 3, then you need to find out why only 3. You need to even check whether 4 was something you kept it as a wrong plan. So you may have to change it over to 3 tests in a week. Or if for any other reason you could not write the test, then you need to rework on your plan and write the test. This is just an example. Control. Because anything needs control. Without a control, nothing will happen. That's the point. So strategy also needs adequate control. Implementation part and control part. Clear? So to measure progress at periodical intervals and to regulate and condition the behavior of events and people. To regulate and condition the behavior of events and people. So your strategy control implies regulating and conditioning the behavior of events and people. Okay, so even you may have to change your HR policies and I said attrition rates are very high, means you have to work on how to reduce your attrition rates and all that. Then to place restrictions on undesirable tendencies. To place restrictions on undesirable tendencies. Tendencies means the way that things are done. To make people to make people conform to established norms and standards, conform to established norms and standards, to monitor, next point, to monitor the use of resources and assets, to monitor the use of resources and assets, to monitor the use of resources and assets, to examine whether the plans are feasible. So you need to recheck whether your plans are really viable or feasible. Viability is a thing which you need to regularly check whether at all my plan is viable, feasible, whether I can achieve it. If not, you have to modify that. So these are all in relation to strategies. These are all in relation to strategies of the input. Next point is to examine whether feasible. Next point, to continuously learn from experience of actual work performance. To continuously learn from experience of actual work performance. How actually the work is going on. So that becomes a basis for you to monitor your performance. And if there is a need for a change in plan, you have to do that. You have to do that. And to improve the entity's capability to cope up with the demands of organization growth. To improve the entity's capability to cope up with the demands of organizational growth and development. Organizational growth and development. So this is what comes out of control. So whenever we talk of strategy control, these are all the things which you can achieve out of it. So measure the performance, check whether it is going on track. If there is a need for modification of your strategies, do that. All that is built into this aspect of control. Steps in control process. What are the steps involved in control process? One is, first of all, fixing standards. Fixing standards. That is, your objectives and standards should be fixed. It should be measurable. You remember this objective setting liye? I am not sure whether you remember this discussion we had. Objectives, how should your objectives be? There is a very acronym on it. Your objective should be fulfilling certain criteria. அதுக்கு ஒரு acronym இருக்கு. Anyone remembers that?
Smart.
You are right. The answer is SMART. The answer is SMART. So simple, measurable, achievable, all that. R stands for what? Maybe simple S, measurable M, A achievable, R on the
Specific, sir.
realistic R, and T. T should be, I think, result time bound or yeah, correct. So this is the acronym for objectives. Objectives every. So whenever you're going to have strategies, the strategies should fulfill this criteria of standard setting. The standard setting should fulfill this objectives, as I said, like no SMART. That is, all your objectives should be fulfilling this criteria. Otherwise, your plan itself is wrong. Otherwise, your plan itself is wrong. How can you implement if a plan is wrong? Correct? In fact, many companies like Maruti Suzuki, they have decided not to take up electric vehicle production now. While Tatas have gone way ahead and Maruti Suzuki decided they will take up electric vehicle a little late. So they are now only starting the work for whatever reason. They said India as a market is not ready for electric vehicles. That is the reason why they didn't want to start electric vehicle production. So I think now they are starting. And you have Hero, I think I'm right. Hero or Bajaj for that matter. They've just launched their electric two-wheelers. In fact, while others have done already, they have just launched their two-wheelers. Hero Electric, I think, is there for some time now. I think Bajaj launched their two-wheelers recently, electric vehicles. How many of you are opting to go for electric two-wheelers? You have any? Anyone has already bought it, or you are planning to, or contemplating to? Two-wheelers.
Yes, sir.
planning to go for electric two-wheelers, right? Yeah.
Yes,
So,
sir.
good. The market is mature today, wherein the infrastructure required for two-wheeler industry, electric two-wheeler industry is emerging. And particularly like two-wheeler or a car, you need charging point stations and all that, which is coming up slowly. So the infrastructure has to be built around this electric vehicle. Otherwise, while you are traveling, suddenly you lose your, the battery power is down or something, there is no charge, then you have to charge it. So this is where the infrastructure has to be. So some companies have decided to launch their electric vehicle a little late. Some companies have done it earlier. So this is your, this is how you organize yourself. So you have decided to do it now, you have decided to do it later. That is purely the way you would like it to. You would like it to. Okay, clear? Okay. Preeti. 1 minute. Preeti has left the meeting or what? So I don't know what's happening. Just a minute. You are able to join directly, right? Hmm. I have not locked the meeting.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Now I'm able
Preeti,
to.
Preeti, எங்கம்மா காணா போயிட்ட திடீர்னு தேடிட்டு இருப்போம் நாங்கெல்லாம்.
Sir.
We are all searching for you. Meeting room இல்லையேன்ட்டு.
No, sir. Actually, I went out because of audio issue. I told you, right? Your voice was little feeble. After that, when you spoke, also it was like that. So I went out and I came back in, sir. But I was not able to hear you again. So I went out. But whenever I tried to come in, showing that the meeting has not yet started. Can we notify the host regarding the
No,
permission?
no, no, no. I think you have to recheck. Maybe you have clicked on a wrong link or something because this is a ongoing meeting. This, in fact, couple of days before, I used a different meeting room concept that was not working out. You have to give your email and all that. And after that, we sent this separate meeting link and everyone was able to join without a problem. Even now, today, everyone joined without a problem. Even you joined initially. So could be some other issue. Kindly recheck the meeting link, what you have used. So now that you have joined, it's okay. Great. But in future, since the meeting link is given to you, you can use that link and join. I have not locked the meeting also. If I lock the meeting only, you can't enter. I have not locked the meeting. Okay. Yeah. So please check where is the issue. Because after a lot of efforts, we are trying to put things in a place. But again, if something else comes up, then I am a worried man. So I want things to be getting into smooth things like people are able to join the class and all that. So ஏதாவது issues இருந்ததுன்னா நம்ம அட்ரஸ் பண்ணி ஆகணும். அதனால தான் மோர் கன்சர்ன். ஸோ உங்களுக்கு ரீசெக் பண்ணி பாருங்க அந்த மீட்டிங் இப்போ எப்படி நீங்க வரும்போது வந்தது. ஸோ மேபி சம் அதர் இஷ்யூ. ஸோ ஐ ஹவ் நாட் லாக்ட் ஆர் நத்திங் இஸ் ஃப்ரம் மை சைட். ஐ பீன் கோயிங் த்ரூ த கிளாஸ் நவ். ஸோ உங்க சைட்ல என்ன இஷ்யூன்னு பாருங்க.
I joined through that.
த்ரூ தட் லிங்க் ஒன்லி ரைட். ஏற்கனவே எதுல ஜாயின் பண்ணிருந்தீங்க?
That link only I joined, sir. Then the second time when I tried joining through your link which you gave in the group, sir. அதுல போகும்போது
அதுதான் யூஸ் பண்ணணும். நீங்க வேற எதை யூஸ் பண்ணேன்?
No, sir. When I tried your link from the group, right, I was not able to join. But Madhumita ஒரு link அனுப்பிச்சிருந்தா. So I joined with that, sir.
சேம் லிங்க் தான் நல்லா பண்ணிருக்கேன். மதுமிதா உனக்கு அனுப்பிச்சு நான் அனுப்பிச்ச லிங்க் தானே தெரியல. I don't know. Anyhow, that's okay. Let's not discuss too much on that. Now that you have joined the session, so let's continue with that. Okay. So okay, right. Huh? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sorry for the inconvenience, sir, because a lot of confusions came because
இல்லம்மா
of.
நானே ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்பட்டு ஒரு ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸஸ் வந்து ரியலி கஷ்டம்னு சொல்றதை விட சேலஞ்சஸ் ஆர் பிளென்டி. ஏன்னா இப்போ வந்து இந்த டெக்னாலஜி இஸ் வெரி அட்வான்டேஜஸ், சம்டைம்ஸ் இட்ஸ் காசிங் இஷ்யூஸ். இந்த மாதிரி இஷ்யூஸ் ஸ்மால் இஷ்யூஸ் ஏதாவது வருது, சார்ட் அவுட் பண்றதே பெரிய கஷ்டமா இருக்கு. ஏன்னா ஐ டோன்ட் வாண்ட் எனி ஒன் ஆஃப் யூ டு மிஸ் அ கிளாஸ், தட்ஸ் தி பாயிண்ட். I don't want any technical issue to come in between. Anyhow, that's okay, man. Now that you have joined, kindly make sure if you're exiting and joining back, it's okay. Not an issue. நான் லாக் பண்ணல மீட்டிங் கொஞ்ச நாளைக்கு, ஏன்னா அது சார்ட் அவுட் ஆகிற வரைக்கும் அதை பத்தி பிரச்சனை கிடையாது. பட் if you exit for a few minutes for a technical reason or any other reason, quickly come and join back. Okay, let us not discuss too much about that part. Okay, let us move on. So we are discussing about what are the various steps involved in a control process. So first thing I said, establishing standards, setting standards, which is viable, feasible, smart objectives like I told you. Secondly, measurement of your performance against your actuals. In fact, standard costing நம்ம சொல்றோம் இல்லையா, standard costing is type of a control mechanism. I set a standard, I measure my actuals against my standard and check whether my performance is as per standard. Okay. Thirdly, comparison. Third step is comparing actual results with standards and identifying the reasons for deviations, whether it's a positive or negative, whichever way it is. Looking at reasons for deviations and obtaining new insight on the nature of standards. New insight on the nature of standards. So you relook at your standards and check whether it's okay. If not, you go for fresh set of standards. Okay? This is the third step, comparison of your results as against your standards. The fourth step is correction. Corrective. This is very, very important. Whenever you are talking of control, automatically it has to lead us to a point of corrections, rectifications, changes. That is the purpose of control. Without that, what is the purpose of control? Control itself means comparing the performance against budget or a plan or whatever, and revisiting that if required, and measuring performance, and then making corrections if we need. Corrections in the form of, okay, deviations observed unknown, we need to identify the corrective steps to address the deviation. So corrective steps, last part, correction, creating a mechanism for providing corrective and adaptive information and instructions to ensure the process of achievement of specified goals. Creating a mechanism for providing corrective and adaptive information and instructions to ensure the process of achievement of specified goals. Okay, clear? Any doubts at this stage?
No.
All of you are clear? So I hope you have now understood what is control all about. Control is all about setting standards, measuring performance, checking for deviations, making corrective steps, all that. Clear? Shall we proceed? Then coming to strategic control. So now whatever we discuss is more of a general nature, but coming to the strategic control aspect of it, more focusing on strategic control. Strategic control is something to do with same process only, no doubt, but it is regarding the strategies. It is regarding the strategies. So meaning of it, make a note, strategic control is a process of evaluating a strategy as it is formulated and implemented. As it is formulated and implemented. Evaluating a strategy as it is formulated and evaluated. Implemented rather. And it is directed towards identifying problems and changes. It is directed towards identifying problems and changes in the premises and making necessary adjustments. What is a premise? Have you come across that premise? Planning premises in சொல்லுங்க. கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? Have you
Yes,
come
sir.
across that term? What is a planning premise?
Certain assumptions that are made based on which plans are done.
You're right. Assumptions or you can call it as something like basis or assumption or whatever which you fix for the purpose of planning. So I am carrying out this plan on the premise, on the assumption that the government policy will not change. I am carrying out this plan, or I am implementing this plan, or I am bringing out this plan strategy on the premise that the inflation is going to come down. All that. So strategic control is a process of evaluating strategies as it is formulated and implemented, and it is oriented towards or directed towards identifying problems and changes in premises and making necessary adjustments. So it's all the same. Whatever we discuss in general as control is what is applicable for strategic control also. So a control can be a cost control. A control can be a performance measurement criteria, any performance measurement criteria, objectives, MBO scale, measurement by management by objectives. That is a control mechanism, a performance control. So I am setting up my targets for the year. I am trying to see whether I have achieved those targets for the year. Same thing happens in case of strategies. I have created strategies. I have implemented strategies. Now I am measuring my performance as to whether the strategies are giving the desired results. Then, if it is giving the desired results, go ahead with that. Otherwise, revisit the strategies, change your strategies, modify your strategies, exit out of your strategy. That is, sometimes it may so happen your strategy was itself wrong. So you may have to exit it. Come back with a new strategy. All that has to be done. That is the first part. Secondly, strategic control focuses on the question of whether the strategy is being implemented as planned and the results produced by the strategy are those intended. So whatever you intend to get as a result, have you achieved it? And that is a mechanism of strategic control. Okay. So for an example, your strategy is to, let us look at this. Normally, one of the important strategies is format of stores and so on. So let us say, for example, DMart. DMart particular. Have you heard of DMart?
Yes.
Have you heard of DMart? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So have you visited any DMart stores? Any of you?
Yes.
Yeah. So you visited a DMart store? Who's telling I visited? Madhumita.
Sir, I have also visited.
Yes.
Yesterday they are being pick up on just a minute. So yeah, now go ahead. Yeah. So who all has visited a DMart store? Sandhya. Then
I have also visited, sir.
okay, great. Preeti. Okay. Sahana. Okay. Now, what is it you observed in DMart store? What is your observation? You are a strategic management student. What type of strategies they are following? Can you just tell me one or two? Do you think DMart model is a successful model? DMart model of sale. Is it a successful model? Any idea which is the company running this DMart chain of stores? Any idea? And who is the person behind it? You have to look into all of this. Now you are no more a general customer. You are a student of CA, student of strategic management. So when you enter into a shop like DMart, your eyes should be looking at such information, or you should find out DMart. Observe what did you observe in DMart?
So there were not every single product that's necessary for a household item. I mean, that's necessary for a household was in the shop, and it was also cheap. So when you go inside this shop, you can get everything you want, and also the items that you don't want will come in.
So Sandhya, you have a DMart store in Madurai, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great to know. See, smart day. Okay, I never expected that. See, he's penetrated so well, towns and cities and all that. In fact, Chennai, we had one in Virugambakam long back வந்திருந்தது. But அது ஒண்ணு தான் இருந்தது. இப்போ now they opened one in Velachery Grand Mall also. So I visited once only. As you rightly observed, they have stocked huge quantities of household items and all that, and the pricing is very cheaper. I read yesterday or today only that one of the comments was that about DMart. You go to DMart with a list of items to be bought. Generally speaking, whenever you go for purchasing something, generally speaking, you go with a list of items to be purchased, or at least you have in mind. But somebody has written very nicely, when you go to DMart, you originally wanted to buy 10 items, we end up buying 20 items because of huge discounts, as you use the word discounts. So this is the strategy of DMart to attract customers, and DMart is run by a company called Avenue Supermarkets Limited or something. It's a listed company, and one of the major shareholder is Radhakrishnan Damani, and he's one of the richest person in India. Have you heard of his name?
Sir, Avenue Supermart.
Avenue Supermart, exactly. Avenue Supermart, and Radhakrishnan Damani is the person who owns majority shareholding in the company, if I'm right. And he's one of the richest persons in India, and he's also holding shares in India Cements and all that. So he's one of the very big investors in India also. Okay, so this company is doing very well today because of the simple reason that the strategies adopted is about this shop model. So every business you can adopt a model. So model where all items are available at a cheaper price. You negotiate. In fact, this was a concept in Big Bazaar also earlier. But Big Bazaar today has gone into a different issue. So Big Bazaar is no more in operation. It's taken over by Reliance, and now it is something like Smart Bazaar. Even they are offering at a very good price, one of the best prices. Big Bazaar earlier, now Reliance Smart Bazaar. I just visited a couple of times. They are in Phoenix Mall, and they are offering at a very good price. So this is a strategy. So I'm only trying to explain you about the strategy of what type of a model of a store you want to operate. Large format of a store with lot of items with a cheaper price. That is a model. Okay, so when we talk of the definition of strategic control, you need to get your strategies right. What model you want to operate, you have to decide that, and accordingly check your. Okay, I started off my DMart with this model. Now it's doing very well. That's what Radhakrishnan Damani would say, because his strategies work. So the implementation part is doing very well, and so the control part, excellent. Whatever they targeted or planned, they're achieving it. So that is the point. So definition of strategy control, it clearly tells us whether the strategy is being implemented as planned, and the results produced based on whatever strategy the entity has created is what they intended. Are you able to understand this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good. Need for strategies, the third point. Strategies or need for strategic control. Need for strategic control. Strategies once formulated are not immediately implemented. So there is a time gap between strategy formulation and implementation. In this period, strategies may be affected or rather implemented by internal and external environment of organizations impacted. So there is a need for warning systems to track a strategy as it is being implemented. So once you create a strategy, while you implement a strategy, you may end up with some challenges, environmental challenges, change in. So now that we are seeing about inflation rates are going up, government policy is changing, RBI rates are changing, and globally there is expected to be a recession in US to start with, and maybe it can percolate down the line to various countries. So recession is in cards. America is facing a threat of recession. US. So now that could even lead to other entities which may end up with other countries rather, which may end up with some recessionary conditions and all that. So it's a threat. So if that is a threat, then you need to really understand how you go about it. How you go about it. So next is there are 4 types of strategic control, very important. One is premise control. One is premise control. That is premise na assumptions. Premise control. A strategy is formulated based on certain premise or assumptions as we discussed. In an ever-changing environment, and these assumptions undergo a change over a period of time. So the premise or assumptions undergo a change over a period of time. And premise control is a tool for systematic and continuous monitoring. Premise control, that is the assumptions you need to modify if required. The premises control or premise control is a tool for systematic and continuous monitoring of the environment, to verify the validity and accuracy of the premises, on which the strategy is built. So you need to validate the premises, whether the premises are okay, whether the premises need a change, all that you evaluate. And this requires review of internal environmental factors and external environmental factors. Internal environmental factors and external environmental factors. So what could be the internal environmental factor that could cause a change in your premise assumption when you create a strategy? Internal environmental factors which is applicable to the entity. And then you have external factors. External factors and the internal factors. These 2 factors will affect your premise, or that we call for change in premise. What are the internal environmental factors and external environmental factors?
Is competition an internal factor?
Sorry, come again.
Competition for the entity, to the entity.
What? Come again. Contribution.
Competition, sir.
Okay. Just a minute. Let me. Yeah. Anyhow, you're all not on the video, so let me make a difference. Okay, go ahead then. If you're on video, this would be an active session. We can discuss, and I can have none of you are switching on the video, so I have to just keep talking only. I can really hear you. No problem. Tell me, what are the other internal environmental factors, and what are the external environmental factors that could affect your premise assumptions?
Sir, internal environmental factors could be in case of machinery or something like that, technological advancements if it comes, then we have to bring in.
Not really. In fact, in the initial classes, if you recollect, we were discussing about various environmental factors which can impact your business and all that in general. And here we are talking more of the strategies, premise control. So internal factors could be your employees, it could be your suppliers, your customers. So any change in any of, I gave an example yesterday or day before, I don't know whether in our class or any other class, I don't remember. We discussed about high attrition rates in certain companies. You remember that? Did we discuss that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I gave an example of a particular, reportedly a bank where their attrition rate is 40 to 45%. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is an important issue factor. Your strategies to expand. In fact, this bank, private sector bank, is going for expansion into rural areas. So far, they have been focusing on cities and towns. Now they're going into rural areas. So if they're going to go into rural areas, this attrition rate is becoming a problem. 40 to 50% of the people are leaving the organization, which is very, very big number. So we discussed about HR policies need to undergo a change and all that. So this is an internal kind of environmental issue. Employees morale down or employees leaving the company, high levels of attrition, suppliers, issues with suppliers, supply chain issues internally, customers. Then external factors, government policies, again, economic conditions, right? All that plays a role in premise. All of you clear? Any doubts? Okay, great. Good. Next is strategic surveillance. Surveillance nale enna artham? Surveillance means a high level check. How your strategy is performing, how your strategy is giving the desired results. So strategic surveillance involves general monitoring of various sources of information to address the challenges that you may face while implementing the strategies. Okay. So strategic surveillance is the next step in control of set. So premise control, second is strategic surveillance. Third is special alert control. If there is an issue suddenly or something coming up, it should alert you. So special alert controls. Sometimes some unexpected events can happen. It should give you alarms. And the organization should revisit their strategy if there is anything coming up after some time. So it's a special alert. Now the pandemic issue is a special alert. In fact, exam adikadi, even last time in recent exams also they asked questions on pandemic related strategies and all that. So we are not out of context still to discuss about the pandemic related issues. In your exam also it did. You go through the question paper. Anyone remembers what was the question on the pandemic based question in this recent exam? Any one of you have gone through the strategic management question paper? You recollect that question? Any one of you? No? Okay. Kindly check it out. And you'll observe. In fact, நான் வந்து CS பேப்பர் தான் ஷேர் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். CS MCQ பேட்டர்ன் பேப்பர். அதுலயும் என்னென்ன மாதிரி கொஸ்டின்ஸ்லாம் வந்திருக்குன்னு பாருங்க. So then you'll be able to appreciate, okay, the questions-லாம் வந்திருக்கு அப்படிங்கிறது உங்களுக்கு ஈஸியாக புரியும். Okay. So special alert control, unexpected events may happen, which has to be checked and monitored, and you have to reconsider your strategies if required. And sometimes you may also have to form crisis management team to address such special alert controls. திடீர்னு ஒரு வேற என்ன டைப் ஆஃப் ஸ்பெஷல் அலர்ட் கண்ட்ரோல் வரும் உங்களுக்கு? ஒன்று வந்து இந்த பேண்டமிக் இஷ்யூ மாதிரி ஒரு இஷ்யூ. வேற என்ன மாதிரி டைப் ஆஃப் ஸ்பெஷல் அலர்ட் கண்ட்ரோல் இன் டர்ம்ஸ் ஆஃப் when you're executing your strategy, you should set your strategy in such a way that it throws out alerts. இந்த தடவை உங்களுக்கு ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜி எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ண முடியல, உங்க டார்கெட்டட் சேல்ஸ் அச்சீவ் பண்ண முடியல, அதுக்கு ஏதோ ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் ரீசன் அப்சர்வ் பண்றீங்க, ஸ்பெஷல் அலர்ட். ஸோ யுவர் த என்டையர் டீம் இஸ் நவ் அட்ரஸிங் தட் அலர்ட் இஷ்யூ. என்ன மாதிரி இஷ்யூ வரலாம் வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு? வாட் ஆர் த சேலஞ்சஸ்? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'm asking you what type of an alert control you can expect or imagine while implementing strategy. I wish you all answered this because we have gone through strategic management almost for 3 months now. More than 3 months. Anyone remembers when did we start this subject, strategic management?
What about, I recently read this, I don't know if this will affect any changes. What about the FD, federal hike in US, so that if that will affect any strategic changes in me?
Possibly, because there is a change in that rates in Indian context also, there could be a revisit by RBI, and that has already brought in a changes. It could be a good flag and red flag, special alert control. Hey, there is a change in bank rate. So suddenly particular businesses, automobile business, home builders and all that, the loan rates have increased, so it is going to impact the business. So that's a red alert. Yes, no doubt. Changes in rates of government, RBI, etc. That's a red alert. So அதுவும் ஒரு type of special alert control தான். அப்புறம் new competitor coming into the market, it's a red alert. Maybe he's a big guy. இப்போ ரீசெண்டா நான் வந்து இந்த டிமார்ட் பத்தி நம்ம பேசியிருந்தோம். ஸோ டிமார்ட்டுக்கு ஒரு சடன்லி ஒரு பிக் காம்படிட்டர் வராரு அப்படின்னா அது ஒரு ரெட் அலர்ட் ஃபார் டிமார்ட். அண்ட் இப்போ இந்த ஐக்கியா ஷோரூம் வந்து ஓப்பனிங் அப் இன் பெங்களூர், ஹைதராபாத் எக்ஸெட்ரா பிக் ஷோரூம்ஸ்லாம் ஓப்பன் பண்றாங்க. எல்லாம் ஃபர்னிச்சர். அண்ட் ஐ திங்க் ஐ டோன்ட் நோ மச் அபவுட் ஐக்கியா. ஐ மீன் ஆஸ் அ ஃபர்னிச்சர் கம்பெனி ஐ நோ இட் அண்ட் ஐ ரெட் அபவுட் இட். பட் வேற என்னெல்லாம் இருக்கும்னு எனக்கு தெரியல. ஐக்கியால ஹைதராபாத்ல இருக்கு எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு, பெங்களூர்ல தேவ் ஸ்டார்டட் நவ். ஓகே. So Chennai illa, so I don't know. So what I mean to say is, அந்த மாதிரி IKEA is coming up with a competitor, becoming a competitor for DMart na push. DMart they have to red alarm signal. Correct? So this is the strategy alert control mechanisms. Okay, there is a change in competition landscape. இதெல்லாம் ஏற்கனவே பார்த்ததுதான். There is a change in government policy. இந்த மாதிரி flags, red flags and all that, can you have to address it correctly. Then implementation control. So special alert control, then implementation control. And while implementing the strategies, sometimes there will be a need for a change in the overall strategies, and which should call for action. So the implementation control includes monitoring strategic thrust, and milestone reviews. You have milestones for your strategies. இப்போ என்னோட ஒரு strategy வந்து I want to now expand my operations, our operations across India or across Chennai. Then milestone is in the year 2022-23 I need to set up 5 branches. That's my milestone. So next year another 10 branches. In the you have to keep revisiting the milestones. So when you're executing your strategies, you need to have milestones. So what first, what next? So we need to keep achieving it. Milestone number 1, milestone number 2, milestone number 3. Okay, milestone reviews to evaluate whether you are able to achieve the desired milestones. So within a year, I need to achieve this. Within second year, I need to achieve this. I need to do this. I need to introduce additional products. All that you have to target. That is your implementation control. So implementation control involves 2 things. One is monitoring of strategic thrust, and second thing is milestone reviews. And the 5th last point is role. Strategic control steer the organization. That is what, how do they help? They steer the organization to achieve its goal and enables them to negotiate through turbulent and complex environment. This could be a question, comment. So strategic control. For strategic control அப்படின்னா meaning what are all the steps and processes involved. அதை எழுதிட்டு நீங்க இதுக்கு இந்த பாயிண்ட் நீங்க கமெண்ட் பண்ணணும். So strategic controls definitely enables an organization to negotiate through turbulent and complex environment, because it is going to throw out red flags. You are going to have milestone reviews. இதெல்லாத்தையும் நீங்க வேற மாதிரி பேக்கேஜ் பண்ணி ஒரு ஆன்சர். அவ்வளவுதான். Packaging of an answer, structuring your answer, right? By practice, you will, by writing test and practice, exam mind packaging correct. டெஸ்ட்லாம் நீங்க எழுதிட்டே இருக்கிறது இல்லையா? அந்த டெஸ்ட் எழுத என்ன ஆகும், உங்களுக்கு இந்த ஆன்சருக்கு இப்படி பண்ணுவோம், இந்த கொஸ்டினுக்கு இப்படி ஆன்சர் ஆகணுங்கிற லெவலில் நீங்க தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ஸோ அதான் டெஸ்ட் வில் ஹெல்ப் யூ இன் டூயிங் ஆல் தட். ஸோ எக்ஸாம் ஹாலில் யூ கேன் பேக்கேஜ் யுவர் ஆன்சர் நைஸ் வித்வுட் கெட்டிங் ஸ்டக். இதுக்கு எப்படி ஆன்சர் எழுதணும்னே தெரியல அப்படின்னு எக்ஸாம் ஹாலில் போய் உட்காந்து அது ரீசன் வந்து உங்களுக்கு ப்ராக்டிஸ் இல்லைன்னு அர்த்தம். ஸோ அந்த ப்ராக்டிஸ் தான் உங்களுக்கு you are all doing it through the test and all that, which will enable you to package your answer there. Okay, clear? Any doubts at this stage?
Yes.
Okay, so what are the challenges or difficulties in strategic control? Yes, definitely there will be challenges, because getting data, timely data, trying to figure out the corrective steps. Everything is not an easy thing as we discuss in the classroom here. Whatever we are discussing in the classroom is all about what you should do, how you should do. But when you actually implement it, there are a lot of challenges to come. So first, strategic evaluation and control is difficult because of the following reasons. One is increase in complexity of the environment. One of the major challenges today in the environmental challenges about the market conditions, the inflation, the recession, slowing down, and job market எப்படி இருக்கு எல்லாமே பார்க்கணும். ஸோ ஏதாவது ஒரு ஃபேக்டர் அஃபெக்ட் பண்ணாலும் உங்களுக்கு பிசினஸ் டவுன் ஆயிடும். செகண்ட், வைடனிங் ஆஃப் டாஸ்க் என்விரான்மெண்ட் இன் விச் த என்டிட்டி ஆப்ரேட்ஸ். ஸோ நீங்க ஆப்ரேட் பண்ற என்விரான்மெண்ட்ல நிறைய சேலஞ்சஸ் இருக்கும். அதுக்கு நீங்க யூ ஹேவ் டு கீப் ஆன் ஒர்க்கிங் ஆன் டிஃபரெண்ட் டாஸ்க். It should be a challenge. Increase in number of variables in the environment. Number of variables are increasing. What are the variables in the environment? இப்போ நம்ம இன்டர்னல் பார்த்தோம், எக்ஸ்டர்னல் பார்த்தோம். எக்ஸ்டர்னல்ல பார்க்கும்போது எக்ஸ்டர்னல் காம்படிஷன், எக்ஸ்டர்னல் கவர்மெண்ட் பாலிசிஸ், எக்ஸ்டர்னல் சேஞ்சஸ், as you said, global changes, இதெல்லாம் எக்ஸ்டர்னல் வேரியபிள்ஸ் சொல்லுவோம். வேற see the variables are increasing by the day. Conditions, the environmental conditions are changing by the day. Political certainty, issues relating to that can cause an impact in the business. Political stability, country-wide and state-wide, it's an issue. If a Bangalore-like place, a major issue, and if a Bangalore-like place, a major challenge in business run pandradhula, infrastructure challenges. It is widely recognized that there are a lot of infrastructure challenges in a city like Bangalore. People are finding it very difficult to commute from one place to another place. Is there anyone from Bangalore or anyone recently visited Bangalore? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anyone who visited Bangalore or who are reasonably familiar with what is happening in Bangalore? No, none of you. You have not recently visited Bangalore, or you have any of your friends or relatives in Bangalore?
My relative is in Bangalore.
Your relative is there. Okay. So you have any update from them regarding what is happening in Bangalore?
No, sir.
Nothing much. Okay. So the real issue in Bangalore, like places today they are facing is again is about infrastructure challenges. Infrastructure challenge. What is an infrastructure challenge? They don't have proper roads. Travel and commuting is very difficult from place to place. So they are finding it very, very difficult to get over at 1 hour, 1.5 hours are where typically it should take 10-15 minutes. So these are all the infrastructure bottlenecks the city is facing today. So that is the problem area. So only a strategy implementation can get affected because otherwise it's a beautiful city, cosmopolitan culture. And Bangalore is a place where I have visited few times. It's a cosmopolitan culture. Very good people, broad-minded people, very friendly people, fun-loving people. You can see the difference. So அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சிட்டி, நல்ல வைப்ரண்ட் சிட்டி. ஆனா அங்க எங்க ப்ராப்ளம் வருதுன்னா the infrastructure bottlenecks. So that is also an issue which you need to consider while you are working on your strategies. So increase the number of variables in the environment, such aspects like infrastructure. Difficulty in predicting the future behavior of various variables. How it is going to behave in future? What is going to be in the next year? How this infrastructure is going to be? Is it going to be becoming worse than now, or how it is going to be? You have to foresee that. Then only you can work on your strategies. So increase the number of both domestic and world events affecting the entities. That's what I said. Globally as well as within the country. இப்போ பெங்களூர் லைக் சிட்டியில வந்து எக்ஸ்டர்னலா இன்ஃப்ராஸ்ட்ரக்சர் நல்ல ஏர்போர்ட், பெஸ்ட் ஏர்போர்ட்ங்கிறாங்க. பெஸ்ட் இப்போ ரீசென்ட்லி தே ஓபன் பெங்களூர்ல ஒன்று ஓபன் பண்ணிருக்காங்க பெரிய லெவல்ல. என்னது அது? கவர்மெண்ட் ஹஸ் ஓபன் சம்திங் இன் பெங்களூர். No idea? Anyone? Aditya. Aditya, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
என்னப்பா பண்ணிருக்காங்க பெங்களூர்ல? No idea. They opened up a big railway terminal, Vishveshwaraya, air conditioned terminal, one of the biggest in India. Never போட்டிருந்தாங்க. So, ஒரு terminal, railway terminal, like central station நம்ம இங்க சென்னையில இருக்க மாதிரி அங்க ஒரு பெரிய terminal. One of the biggest airport they have today, Kempegowda Airport, is one of the most successfully operated airports. Bangalore has got all that, but city kulla there is a infrastructure problem. That's the point. So when you are working on right, இப்ப எங்க இருந்து போய் stores open பண்றது, எங்க இருந்து போய் expand பண்றது கஷ்டம் because of the bottleneck. So you need to address correct. Online, அதுலயும் challenges, ஏன்னா traffic chaos ஏற்கனவே அங்க. ஆன்லைன்ல போட்டாலும் எல்லாம் somebody has to deliver. So நிறைய issues இருக்கு. அதனால அதெல்லாம் நீங்க address பண்ணியாகணும். So such challenges can also impact your strategies. So increase the number of issues both within India and outside India, then decrease in time span available for planning. Because எதுவுமே certain இல்லை. இன்னைக்கு ஒரு பிளான் பண்ணா டக்குனு நாளைக்கு மாற்ற வேண்டும் போது it's challenge. So you need to be prepared for it. High rate of obsolescence of even the best plans. You are working on a best plan, but it's becoming obsolete. So then what is the point? You have to keep on changing it. So that is why such strategies have to be monitored continuously. You have to look at the milestones, achievements, whether it's working fine, modify it as and when required, all that you have to. Otherwise, you will not be able to execute your strategies successfully. These are all the challenges which you normally face in implementing a strategy. So strategy control and implementation part, we are done. We are now moving into on that another area, strategy audit. But maybe I will park it for the next week. Strategy audit and business process re-engineering and benchmark. There are 3 areas which we keep it for the next class. So we are almost there. So in fact, I should thank Preeti for a feedback she gave me about. I'll stop the recording. So all of you are okay? Is that any other things you want me to clarify? Any doubts or clarifications at this stage?
Sir.
Okay, so my request to all of you is we are almost completing the subject much ahead of time. And in fact, interestingly, all the sessions were online live. So you should be happy, doubly happy. And so I want you to now spend quality time in preparing for the subject. 50-mark paper, you know that. It's easy to score provided you prepare well. So kindly make sure that you focus your time and energy in preparing well for the subject. I think next week we should be able to complete this for you. And after that, you have all the time for preparing the subject. Okay, so I'll stop the recording now.